So I think it's quite an amazing thought and truth that it's my choice what system I live in. I live in a system of IOUs and debt and payment and business-like relationships with everyone. I don't know, my wife owes me something and I owe something to my son, and then I don't know, God owes me something because I had been a good believer and I had paid him sufficiently, so now he owes me, and that's my thinking. I might not admit it and I speak about love, but when I speak about love I actually mean the system of IOUs that I had built in my dumb little brain, you know, God will allow me to live in that system, but he doesn't want that for me, and because he doesn't want that for me, he will not join me there. He's not interested in living with me there. So when in Matthew 18:33 we read about the Lord of the wicked servant, the unforgiving servant, he says, you will go in jail and there you will be alone and you will be locked up because this is what you choose. And God is saying to us, well, you can lock yourself up if you want, but don't expect me to join there. I'm not interested in being there with you. And then I can, you know what I can do? I can pile up my payments to God, just like Cain did, and be as surprised as Cain had been that, you know, for some reason God doesn't accept it. God is not interested in it. Well, because he doesn't want to live. He has never been interested in living in a system of, in a business-like relationship with us. That was never part of this picture, you know. I think it's Psalm 50 verse 10 maybe, where it says that you know, like, God is not hungry. We're not like in the Old Testament. God was saying, well, you're not feeding me with your sacrifices. That's not the point. It's not a business transaction. And stop thinking that way. And of course, and of course, you know, we can choose that, but God is not interested. And then I'm shocked that God doesn't care for my sacrifice, my payment. I call it sacrifice. It's so wonderful. I'm sacrificing God, but it's really just payment. It's just a stinking payment. It's just a bribe that I'm trying to pay God. And God is not interested in that system. And he says, I want you out of that system. But if I want it, then he'll honor my choice and say, okay, you live in that system. I'm not there with you, but sure, live there if you want. And, sorry, and in Matthew 6, verse 14, it says, if you forgive many their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. That's an amazing thought. So it says, you forgiving those who have harmed you is like intricately woven together with you receiving forgiveness and you living in forgiveness. Those two things are like so closely joined to each other that God can say, if one is there, then the other is there. And if the other is not there, then why is that? Well, because if I'm not forgiving someone else, then I have clearly chosen to not live in a system of grace. That had been my choice somewhere along the line. I may speak about forgiveness, I may speak about love, but in reality, I'm just thinking about owing and payment and debt and whatever. And that's my world, and that's where I want to live. And God is saying, well, yeah, sure, you can choose that. You can live there. We can only live in forgiveness. I mean, we can only truly live in forgiveness. There is no other way. And that means pouring it out and ministering it to others and not just receiving it has to be just as much part as the receiving. Like, that's the complete picture. That's when the whole thing actually works. That's what reveals, it's kind of a litmus test of whether I am actually living in that system or I am just trying to masquerade my little debt and payment and business system with pretty words. God bless you. God bless your meditation and walk with the Lord today.